Hey, good afternoon. My name is Dr. John Tasinski from New Life Covenant Church, and my hope in this presentation is to give you a broad overview on hermeneutics, which is the study and translation of the Bible and how we interpret it. And so, the importance of this is that many believers, the churches have been purged. Many believers have left, and on the surface, it looks like COVID-19. On the surface, it looks like the pandemic. On the surface, it looks like a change in leadership. On the surface, it looks like a hurt believer. But the problem is with, according to Gordon Fee, Dr. Fee Gordon, or Gordon Fee in 2014, he stated that there was a strange ambivalence of how believers make the Bible the ultimate authority over their life. That means God is talking directly to me in every word, or we all have our own interpretation. And for that, churches have been lost because the content, the believers, the members weren't taught hermeneutics. Let's give an overview of the Bible. We have 2,200 translations, the New King James Version. We have the NIV version. We have the NLT. We have the ESV. We have the Amplified Version. We have three different languages, Greek, Aramaic, and Hebrew, which was translated to Latin all the way to English. There's different genres and how they're read. And we're going to get into that later. So the Bible has been lost in translation, and this is the cause for many interpretations. We have 66 different perspectives in writing in different genres written over a 2,000 year span where culture has changed over time. So according to Gene Brown, Dr. Gene Brown and Pinley, they go over different genres, and some of them are the historical in the Old Testament and the gospel. The gospel is a biography, it's a story, right? It's a literal text. And historically, there's the law. It's a narrative, both are narratives. Then you have the poetry, wisdom, and prophecy written in similes, hyperboles, and metaphors. And in the Acts of the Apostles, as the beginning of the church, Paul talks in letters in the epistles, and not every word is from God. He says so. Not everything is from God. I'm sharing this from my experience. Then we have the apocalypse, the revelation, which was written in metaphoric illustration. Let's go on to the next thing. There's different expression types according to Bradley and Plott. We have the literal expression where we need to examine it carefully, the author. We have to look at the context. We have to find out the author and the culture and the time. We have parables, which are short stories, many told by Jesus himself. So we have to pay attention. We have metaphoric illustration, which means it's not literal. We have hyperboles, which is an exaggerated expression to make a point. Jesus, right? In fact, there was a hyperbole that pushed Oprah Winfrey away from Christianity when Jesus said you have to hate your mother and father in order to follow me, right? Then there's similes. He descended on him like a dove. It wasn't a dove, like a dove. So it's a like expression. We have misquoted scriptures. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. See, Paul had a testimony. If you read the pre-scripture, right, the scripture before that passage, and then there's a post-scripture where Philippians help them. So if you're a new believer, earn your testimony. And if you're a seasoned believer, help the new believer and help him build his testimony. Matthew 18:20, for when two or three are gathered in my name, I am there in the midst, right? And so Jesus is talking about a conversation of correction. He isn't about prayer. And we can pray alone. Job prayed alone. Jesus prayed alone. Moses prayed alone, and God was in the midst. And finally, Matthew 17:20 is a metaphor talking about moving a mountain from here to there. And Jesus is expressing something. But this misquoted scripture happens, and it wasn't given in this lesson. But here's the caveat. If you read the New King James Version, and if you read the King James Version and New King James Version, you're going to find out that there's a verse 21. For these things are not possible without prayer and fasting. So this is for you, pastors. Share that part, because people think they can move mountains from here to there without prayer and fasting. And Jesus clearly prayed and fasted. So how do you read the Bible? Observe. Observe the author, the culture, the time, right? Read it carefully. Read it confidently. And so understand what you're reading by reading the context, the surrounding context, and research other versions and other theorists, right? And so finally, then you can interpret it, then you can relate it. Take what is you can apply from the old culture to this culture, weed it out, sift it out, and compare and contrast. Then you can apply it to your life accurately. Finally, we covered the genres, we covered misquoted scriptures, we covered different expressions. So here are the takeaways. Remember this, the Bible's not always about us. Sometimes God is just telling us a story about himself. Oftentimes he is. And the context is king. Read the surrounding context. The three C's, read it carefully, confidently, and consistently. And here's my encourage to you. Dive deeper. Be an advocate for the truth, and the churches will be seasoned with good members after God's own heart. This is Dr. John. God bless you.